I'm going to omit all of them.
Okay. There's Marge. Hello, my love. Miss you. And the He Binks.
Hi.
Hi, hi, hi. Hi, Eve. Good to see you. We've got Mary B and some other folks joining us today. Happy Friday, mid-August. How did this happen? Oh, it's Mary B. Well, I know Mary B. Your hair looks great. Did we get it cut lately? Oh, looks
Right.
good.
We did, but the voice is still the same, Shannon.
Never change, Mary. Love it, love it, love it.
No, no.
Okay.
Here.
All right, we're just going to give a few moments for other people to trickle on the screen. Love when we have folks join us on video. It's so nice to see familiar faces, including Paula. Hi, Paula. Hey, hey. All right. Well, as I said, we're all gathered here today to talk about how to build an aging plan and what that is and how that's uniquely suited to your journey on this path called aging. This hour is for you. So if you have particular questions, concerns, frustrations, this is really about not only plotting your course, but if you're helping loved ones, parents, other folks, how to help start those conversations and know what needs to be taken care of. All right, so just pop something in the chat, raise your hand, raise your voice. We're here to help you. I'm joined here by my colleague, Michelle Chan. I'm Shannon Kennedy. Some of you know me, and I am, as a solo ager, this is something that's really sort of near and dear to my heart. I also work in a volunteer capacity in the older adult space, and I'm a candidate for a certified senior advisor. I'll be testing next month, so wish me luck.
Oh, wow, that's impressive, Shannon. What is the senior advisor
So it's not the financial
organization?
It's not really financial centric. It's more like how do you anticipate just the mental, the physical, the cognitive needs of seniors? How can you best help them make informed decisions and make sure that that you can advocate for them when they can't.
Great, great.
All right. So next up is just a little disclosure that this is just information, folks. Your needs are super specific to you. So we just need to put a note up there as a disclosure that this is for information purposes only. Okay, so next slide. And we'll go to the agenda. All right, so we're going to talk about what it is and how to approach an aging plan. One of the main tenets is, of course, where and how you'll live. There are some legal, health, and financial preparedness that you need to take into account, and this will be in addition to and perhaps some parts duplicative of your estate plan. If any of you on this call have not gotten that in order, let this be yet another reminder for you to please make it a priority to do so. And this will give you a nice little checklist of stuff for you to make sure you have all your ducks in the row. We're then going to talk about some lifestyle and support considerations and wrap up with some great resources. And one of those great resources is a little Brio workbook that we've come up with. Michelle and I have prepared a glorious 45 pages.
Oh my gosh.
Of various checklists and sort of thought prompts for you to think about what you want to do, better yet to record what you want to do, and then the best part is to share it with your loved ones so your wishes are not only recorded but known. So with that, we'll move ahead to the just kind of overview of what an aging plan is. So it's creating the life you want as you get older, and it's your personal roadmap. It really is a fluid document, right? It's where you want to live and under what conditions that might change. You need to make decisions as to who manages your finances, your healthcare decisions, and home maintenance. Obviously, you and your advisor, and I know everyone here is an advisor at Brio, kind of determine when to take Social Security and enroll in Medicare. The medical side of things, who do you want on your caregiving team? What documents do you want to have in place for that? And of course, your end of life wishes. Now, whether you're planning for yourself, your family, or other loved ones, it's never too late or never too early to start planning. All right, so next we're going to talk about really how to have the talk, right? These aren't easy conversations. These are not easy things to think about. I know when I prepared my will, it was really difficult for me to think about some of these things. Like, what did I want to do with, my body? What ceremony did I want? But it's important to have these open conversations about aging now so you're not scrambling later. Same goes for your partners, children, and your chosen family. So it's one of the things we are thrilled to be able to do at Brio is be the bad guy in the room, right? So if you are having a hard time broaching these conversations with your loved ones, blame it on us. Bring us into the convo. Say, my financial advisor needs me to XYZ. And then we can sort of mediate and take that pressure off of you so that at least these conversations are had. But some gentler ways to start the conversation would be, I want to make sure you're taken care of. Can we talk about the future? What kind of help would you want if you needed it? And have you chosen someone to make decisions for yourself if you can't? Again, the workbook's going to be chock full of all sorts of things here with varying questions about what this means for you, right? So with that, we'll move on to probably the most important, well, not most more, the first decision that one has to make that informs the rest of the plan is, where's home? Where's home now? Where's home going to be? So where do you live? Where do you want to live? And if you want to age in place, is it ready? So it's important to think about your future living setup. This doesn't really depend on where you live now, but as solar agers, sometimes we might need to think about geographically where our people are versus where our home currently is. Like, where's that support network really going to be there to help enhance our life? With couples, I don't know how one has this conversation, right? But what happens if someone becomes incapacitated or passes away first? Does that change the overall plan? Do you have a plan A and a plan B in case that unfortunate situation arises? Are we making any assumptions about family and chosen family caregiving that we may not have really articulated? So are these individuals we're expecting to help willing, able? Is it fair to them and their other obligations? And if they are unwilling or unable, is there a backup plan? Right? So as difficult it is, you really need to have those conversations and an agreed upon plan early. Now, for those of you who are wanting to age in place, it's best to start prepping and thinking about your home now. And some of these things are just, we all know that a fall, just one fall, and I am a faller.
Sorry, I signed up for.
Hello?
Latecomer.
Okay. So add grab bars. Think about ramps. Look at lighting. Is the space ADA compliant? Not that you need that now, but in the future, might you? Who would be handling upkeep when you can't or don't want to? I know my brother, he lives in Minnesota. He and his wife officially retired, majorly downsized, and they are in a unique, privileged situation that they could build their dream house, right? Their end of life dream house. Single story, everything ADA compliant. They're currently mobile, but they just thought like, this is going to be it. Let's make it so we can access it in every way. So my brother's like 6'4", my sister-in-law's like 5'2", so they have different height kitchen counters, different height bathroom sinks and everything, just to make it as effortless as possible as they age. Again, that's a privileged situation, but part of the workbook will show you things that you need to consider, right? Lots of checklists about making sure, if you want to age in place, how that might work. Now, there also is we have at the end of the deck, we have a resource for someone that can come in and do a home inspection, an occupational inspection, to make sure it's kind of like baby proofing, but older adult proofing your home and making sure that everything is attended to. Any questions, thoughts, concerns about folks' current living stitches?
I'm sorry, what?
Any questions or concerns about our current living situation?
Oh, no, Shannon, thank you.
Okay.
We're good.
You're good? Okay,
Yeah.
excellent. All right, so we're gonna move along to just a little sneak peek of the workbook that we're talking about here. So bunches of checklists based on different rooms and aspects of your home, including each room of the house, kitchen, and the home and the yard. If you live in a condo, obviously some of this stuff might not apply to you, but this is just a great way to wrap your head around all of the stuff that really might become a concern moving forward.
Wow.
You're just so excited, John. Just wait till you get this workbook. You're going to be.
I'm impressed.
All right, let's move along to, all right. So sometimes staying at home isn't the best option forever, and that's okay, right? We're just giving the overview here, and we have several relevant resources and presentations specifically on, this further care. But as I said before, just plans evolve. Have a plan A and a plan B, and ask yourself or loved ones, when would a move feel necessary? Are we concerned about safety? Is getting around, either driving or transit, becoming hard? Is your or their social interaction dropping off? In addition to the safety of the home, is it protected enough for when memory diminishes? I know Michelle's and her dad have a little agreement for. You want to tell your little stove story, Michelle?
Yes. As my dad ages, he's been forgetting to turn off the stove, which is kind of a big one. And after a few close calls, we decided to build in a system of basically reminder notes all around the house. So there's one in front of the stove that says to turn off the stove if you're leaving the house. And there's one right by the front door that says phone, keys, wallet, and stove. So it's worked, we've never had an issue since then. But little ways to ensure that everyone stays safe has been really helpful.
Yeah, a great peace of mind. And speaking of peace of mind, some smart tech might come into play here, Ring cameras and nanny cams and that sort of thing. Michelle and I were having a meeting about this presentation yesterday. As soon as we finished, I got a call from my brother. My mom had a fall and she's in the hospital. Right? But thankfully she's in assisted living. So, it was, as I said, we Kennedys were fallers. But when she lived alone, it's something that we would have considered, just to have some visual way to check in, because she was solo as well, to check in. I had one for my previous dog. And, I could talk to him. It didn't bring him much comfort, I don't think, but it brought me a lot of peace of mind. All right. Let's move along to some of the potential ultimate moves when you do need a little more help. Now, much like college prep, it
Mhm.
behooves you to kind of tour these places, spaces, evaluate what would be the most palatable move to you as far as assisted living, skilled care, or a continuing care retirement community. Now, in my mom's case, for example, she landed in assisted living because of an emergency situation, right? So that was not, we could not, it wasn't like, oh, which lovely place shall we go? It's like, where has a bed today, right?
Mhm.
So, but in the case that you can make your, chart your own path, and you might want to just check out places in your area, take a look at them, and evaluate for
Mhm.
yourself and with your loved ones, when is the cost and the upkeep of the home versus the cost of care outweighing the benefit of staying. Like if you're aging in place alone and you're not having any other interaction, like that might not be the best for you. That was the case for my mom. We
Mhm.
talked to her 2 days before, and she was like, oh, I got a cupcake for my birthday today, and we had s'mores night the other night, and there's a movie on Saturday. So it's like her schedule's just about as busy as mine, which I love,
Mhm.
right? uh,
Right.
and also caregiving. If your caregiver is unpaid, are they stretched too thin, right? The continuing care retirement communities, no, those offer, that's where you can really move in super early. And then as your needs change, add on additional care. So that can be independent to skilled nursing, but entry often requires planning ahead. So do little scout checking, even if it feels premature, and see what kind of spot or space or place would be most comfortable for you. Yeah, because planning now gives you much more choice later. So make sure that you're having conversations with your advisor about these sorts of things and these costs so it can be baked into your financial plan. We have separate presentations and resources that we've done specifically on long-term care and assisted living sort of spaces and the cost
Mhm.
therein. So this is just the broad overview of knowing what option might you want to pursue. Okay, next up. Well, there you go. Some more worksheet pages, people.
Oh, wow. That's impressive, Shannon.
There are 45 of them, Mary.
A lot.
And it's funny, this is just a really bizarre anecdote that occurred to me this morning. When we're talking about, the top one here is activities of daily living, which some of you may have heard of ADLs, and it's sort of a good
Mhm.
indicator of when you might need additional care. I was thinking as I was taking my dog, my current dog out this morning, that if I were to use ADLs as a guide, like I let my poor little Mac live way too long. He couldn't do any of those things. And it just was sort of sobering in that, if my idea of comfort of life and quality of life is such that I should be, I don't know, giving that grace to another creature, I guess. But we just love them so
Mhm.
much. So again, these are great checklists, particularly I think if you're are in a couple, like you might not have had these conversations, right? You might want
Mhm.
something different. So, and some of these will be not sures, like you're just not sure. And that is an indication that you need to do a little more deep dig in, a little more research, and see what your interests are. All right, so then comes on the biggie. Now,
Mhm.
many of you, I hope, already have this in place. All right, if you have your will and trust estate plan, you should have this in place. Everybody, no matter the age, should have a quality of life advance directive. And as I was saying, using the activities of daily living can really help guide you as to what level of independence or support aligns with your values. So, what makes life meaningful to you on a day-to-day basis? So, what they are, the 6 basic ones: bathing, dressing, eating, toileting, transferring, so getting in and out of a chair, bed, or otherwise, and continence, which is different than toileting, and that's the control, the ability to control your bladder and bowels. So generally, the rule of thumb is if 3 or more of those you require assistance with, you really, you need additional care. And you also might not feel comfortable getting care on some of those from outside providers, right? So these are decisions that are very personal and you have to make. So you need to think about what level of help are you comfortable receiving on these? At what point would you no longer consider your life high quality? Do you want life prolonging care versus comfort care if you need help with 3 or more of these? And what to you does independence, dignity, and comfort really look like at this stage? So you can also, we have a worksheet for the quality of life advanced directive within, but you can also add like a value statement to it. You could do something like, I can no longer feed, bathe, or dress myself without full assistance, and recovery is unlikely. I do not want aggressive life prolonging care. Right? You could say, if I can't communicate meaningfully or recognize loved ones, I prioritize comfort care only. Why does that matter? Because that gives you and or your proxy real guidance, not just about medical procedures, but about what matters most to you in your daily life. Any thoughts or comments on that?
Shannon, I have my older brother who lives in Walnut Creek, who is currently wheelchair bound, and will be for forever. He now has a care situation, and I was sort of shocked to hear recently on our monthly siblings Zoom call that he has a care person coming in 5 days a week to help him with bathing, dressing, eating, et cetera, and it's a bit of a shock to realize that your sibling is not only in a wheelchair, like another sibling of mine who is in a wheelchair recovering from a shoulder replacement. I'm the person, I'm the sibling in the middle between these two wheelchair bound people, siblings, and it's not only my feelings towards them with their restricted ability, but also with myself living as a single.
Yeah.
And it's a massive wake up call. If that happens to me, what am I going to do here? And so there are all kinds of scenarios to work with, and realizations coming to realize this is the way it is. It's not going to terribly change, So it's on my mind also with a neighbor here in the apartment house who is a single. She's 89 and she is more than ready or should go to an assisted living. And she is fiercely stubborn and independent, living by herself. She doesn't want to move anytime soon, but I feel as she is slowly fading, she should go to assisted living, but that's a huge price for her, a huge adjustment for her.
Of course.
So these problems are all swirling in my head. And and also funeral arrangements for someday. I'm going to, as they say, kick the bucket, and it's time to line that up. I'm approaching the age of hard to imagine, the age of 80 next year.
Oh man, I know.
I'm thinking of my dear father, my parents who passed on, but at the age of 80, my father had not made any funeral arrangements. So my mother's tough love response was, "So you're not going to die?"
That's a good one.
That
That's
is
the
a good one.
that's the family humor, black humor, I guess.
Uh,
That's genetic and inherited. So that's where I'm coming from.
Well, it will come as zero surprise to you, Mary, that there is a funeral planning arrangements portion of the workbook. So you can outline those things. But yeah, this is hard stuff to think about. As we age, it doesn't become theoretical. It becomes, it's literally just a matter of time, right? But having, to your mother's point, and having the stuff in order really helps your loved ones, right? So think of it as a selfless act of love.
Yes, for yourself. And in fact, my dear sister, it's across the living room here on the coffee table, gave me a birthday present a few months ago, and it's for end of life planning. And the snappy title of this little book to fill in is called "I'm Dead. Now What Do I Do?"
I have seen that one, and yeah, it suits your humor for sure.
And I'm staring at it now, thinking yada yada yada.
Yeah. All right. Well, might be time to page through that. And again, we're here to help. So yeah, so the next page here is just, again, some snapshots of your quality of life directive checklist. And then the two top worksheets are information from the National Institute of Health that gives just some nice scenarios, like some what if scenarios. So you consider, like, how would this change my decision on health and healthcare? So those will be, part and parcel of your takeaway after the session. Then we're going to move into, I think, just some, question? No? Okay. Yeah, Paula?
So I just want to reiterate the importance of Plan B. So for example, I have a card in my wallet that leaves my body to UCSF body program because my dad did that. But if they can't take the body, I don't know, maybe you're in a bad accident or you have an autopsy or something. Apparently there are rules. So I need to have a Plan B, and I just want to kind of throw that out as, you've mentioned it a couple times, Shannon,
Yes.
So I'm just reiterating that, you may have a caregiver, but what if they're sick at the time that you need them, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. The workbook has, what's my ideal plan A scenario for X, and what's my plan B, and what do I have to do to get either one of those in place? Another thing that I haven't yet mentioned is, even if it, we always want to have your docs here at Brio. We want to have your estate plan, your trust, your will, your quality of life directive. Again, we've got a super secure, wonderful vault that we can store documents, and we can be a point of contact when crisis emerges. We do this all the time when we have someone pass. People can reach out to us. Brandon, I have been with Brandon as my advisor since 2000. Just because we were friendly, not because I have any money. A little bit more now, but I took my will and estate and copied it and gave it to my two beneficiaries, as well as my brother, who would be my executor. I just stapled Brandon's business card to the front of it. Right, old school. We can do it a variety of different ways now, but we want to be a resource for you and your loved ones, and we can keep all this stuff in a centralized area for you. To your greater point, Paula.
Yeah, that's great.
We're just going to go really big brushstroke here over Medicare. I think most of most of you know the drill here, that you have to enroll 3 months before, a month of, or 3 months after your 65th birthday. Now, if you are not yet at that age, your advisor at Brio will be reaching out to you as you approach that age to have this conversation. Because if you miss it, you'll pay a penalty, right? 10% on Part B, unless you have supplemental coverage elsewhere. And there's also a penalty for Part D, the drugs, if you delay. So the ABCDs of Medicare, there is at the tail end of this deck a little spreadsheet that's snapshotted there about Medicare that's effective as 2025. So, and Medigap can help fill the gaps, but again, you need to sign up within 6 months of starting Part B. So if you have any specific questions about that, reach out to myself, reach out to your advisor, and we can do a deep dive on what looks right for you and your needs.
I have something that I want to share.
Yeah, please.
I'll be turning 65 in January.
Okay.
So what I found out is I start drawing Social Security since last year.
Okay.
So they said that if I am in that condition, I don't need to apply for social Medicare. It will automatically put me on Medicare.
Automatically. Okay.
Automatically. So I should be receiving the Medicare card in November.
Great.
That's what they said.
That should be the case. I think we should make a little note for ourselves to check back in November to make sure.
Right. Yeah, I have that. I do need to call the my current health insurance to make sure that the merge is, what I want. I don't want to change any doctors or hospital or anything like that. So that's what I'm waiting to check back.
Okay. All right. Well, that should be as seamless as it can be, but definitely reach out to your current provider.
I hope so.
And see, sometimes they just don't take Medicare for certain little things, right? So
yeah, I don't want any surprises.
Yeah, no, definitely don't want any surprises.
Yeah.
Not while you're having your big 65th birthday party.
I don't think so.
and you can send my invite to the office. Thanks, Bana.
Oh, okay. You're welcome. You're invited.
All right. Well, next up, we're going to talk about long-term care. Long-term care, I think, has sort of a bad rap in that people think it means you're old and you need a ton of help. It really is just insurance, folks. It's insurance for people who just need help, who can't cover the costs of their short-term medical needs or their long-term medical needs. So bad news is most of us are going to need it in some way. 70% of folks 65 plus end up needing long-term care. We women and solo agers are at an even higher risk because we live longer and we're not stressed because we don't have kids or partners. So we live even longer. So don't just think long-term care, ooh. We have a chart here. Look at it. There are a lot of different applications and riders and combos. We've got dedicated peers in long-term care insurance that we can refer you to, so you can consider this. But basically, it's all about the caregiving that you're going to need. So it's going to cost you regardless of how you secure it. If you do it through long-term care, or if you do it through friends, family, and loved ones, right? The risk in that is the toll, health issues, lost income for the caregivers, frustration for all parties involved. I'm sure we've all heard stories of how it just gets to be too much for everybody, right? The good news is, under certain conditions, and this is within California, and proper enrollment, funds for caregiving can be gotten through the In-Home Supportive Services Program within California for qualified Medi-Cal and Medi-Cal only individuals. But this doesn't mean that Michelle doesn't need to be a registered anything, right? If I'm eligible for Medi-Cal, she's willing to provide the treatment, we properly enroll that and get that all earmarked. There is financial assistance out there for caregiving. All right, so it's important that you budget for help, even if it starts free. And I think the next slide is going to tell us a little bit more about, oh yeah, long-term care. Well, looky there. So this is one of the worksheet checklists. There's some resources linked within for more information. And again, as I said, we have dedicated resources that we can send your way as well. We're going to keep on talking about insurance here for a moment as we talk about just insurance in general. Again, nobody wants to pay for insurance. Ew, like it's no fun. Any kind of it, right? You begrudge when you don't, I paid all that and I never used it. Well, goodness, aren't you happy when you do need it that you paid into it, right? So think of it as a shock absorber. It can kind of take the hits when they come. So take a good look, and again, in conjunction with your advisor, your current insurance and how those needs might change. So we talked about long-term care, life insurance for loved ones. If you are hiring care, absolutely, you should consider liability coverage if you're having outside help come into your home. And this isn't really directly tied into this, but we wanted to talk about planning for cognitive decline, right? It's going to happen to all of us. Our memory diminishes. We forget things. I mean, I literally have like checklists like dye hair, things that I should be able to acknowledge by looking at myself it's time to do. But sometimes we just have so much swirling around in our brains. So think about what you can simplify now that might make future you less apt to forget something. So employ smart tech or reminders wherever that might be helpful or useful for you. If you can automate any of your finances with bill pay, auto pay, those sorts of things. Set up your power of attorney if you haven't already. Here at Brio, we would love to help you consolidate accounts. If you've got a 401k from back 1991, that college job you were working, just hanging out there, let's roll it on over. Let's make this simpler so that you have a handful of things to monitor as opposed to, lots of little loose ends out there.
Shannon, excuse me, power of attorney. I can think of actually two: power of attorney for healthcare and power of attorney for financial decisions.
Yes.
And you would, I'm sure you would love to have copies of both.
We want whatever you got, copy it, upload it. You can upload it. You can send it to us. You can drop it off. Whatever you've got, we'd love to have it, again, centralized for your convenience and for your, just so that we have our eyes on everything that impacts your life. Money is just one aspect that touches your life, right? We want the whole enchilada. And add trusted contacts to accounts. Earlier this year, I had the death of a dear friend of mine unexpectedly, and we were, myself and the family were just left utterly rudderless, right? We didn't have any access to anything. And he was young, so it was very unexpected, blah, blah, blah. But just, again, this is good organization for yourself, current you. This is great organization for whomever is going to have to take the charge when maybe you can't. All right. And the next one is, I think, just some more legal planning.
There you go.
Yep. We got lots of forms, lots of acronyms, lots of stuff coming your way. So remember, the legal planning, not super fun necessarily, but it gives you great peace of mind. So the right documents speak for you when you can't. And these are some of the must-haves. So durable power of attorney, finances, healthcare proxy, or medical power of attorney. Thank you, Mary. Makes medical decisions for you. Also, your advanced directive / living will, as we already talked about. HIPAA release lets your people talk to doctors, so that's a good one to have. And they're less necessarily normal is the emergency medical forms. It varies state by state what they're called, but it's either a physician or medical order for life-sustaining treatment. Now, this is not a legal document, but it is an emergency medical form. So it will inform your caregiver as to what your wishes are. And then for financial institutions, often they will request letters of diminishing capacity, so that we can have someone, trusted contact of yours that we can speak to if they, or yourself think that it might be time for you to hand over that decision making. Of course, there are also professionals, fiduciaries, and all of that. We have resources for that. That's when you want one person to singularly outside of your network become part of your network and do lots of this stuff on your behalf. But moving along, we've got 2 to 3 more little topics. Healthcare proxy, diminishing capacity worksheet, and then one at the tail end of the workbook pages is this important documents information list. We want you to have every one of those boxes checked, people. And then equally importantly, on the other side, how someone can access them, right? Where is this? What's the password? How who's the contact? And at the top of this, you can just scroll, Brio. Our name's right there. All right, so moving on, we're going to talk about a tough one. Driving. I'm not a driver, never have been, so not a concern for me, but it was a big point of contention for my mom. I know Michelle's struggling with this with her dad right now too. So it gives us freedom, but we need to know when it's time to stop, and we need to hear when it's time to stop, right? So what to watch for yourself or for loved ones if you're getting lost on familiar routes. Reaction time is slowing. There are a few more close calls than you're comfortable with. Night driving, particularly difficult as we age. So trouble seeing signs or lights, trouble turning the wheel or braking. Some folks don't even enjoy driving at a certain point. It's stressful, it's frustrating, gives them anxiety, right? And if your friends or family are voicing concern. So you can also, if you're in the awkward position of trying to get a loved one to rethink driving, you could consider a professional driving evaluation, right? And let somebody else say, you're good to go. Or, nah, really, let's look at other options for you. The good news is there are tons of options out there. Particularly here in San Francisco, specifically in the Bay Area at large, we got tons of other ways to get around, folks. So there are plenty of ways to stay independent. They've got, now for older adults that might not be iPhone or app friendly, that's certainly a concern, right? But we can always, I work with an older adult and I pick her up and send her via Uber all the time, right? She comes to me, I come to her. And that works just out perfectly. There are also senior shuttle or paratransit services here in the Bay. Public transit senior discount 65%.
Wow.
Yeah, amazing. There's some volunteer driver programs if walking or biking is still safe and available to you. And then of course, family and friends. You could build a ride sharing schedule. Say Michelle goes to Trader Joe's on Tuesdays. Michelle, can I pop along on your Trader Joe's on Tuesdays run?
Sure.
Okay. All right. So, and test out alternatives before it's ready to make the switch. And then think about all that money you might save. No car insurance, no parking tickets, no registration fees, right? Look at it as a bonus, not a punitive thing. And no parking. Oh, okay. So here's a nice little checklist.
No tickets.
No tickets, no parking. Like, sign me up. That you could have a conversation with your loved one, like, they agree that they will do X, Y, and Z if their driving deteriorates. All right, then got, oh goodness, yes, we're staying connected as you age. So making connections, having community is huge to Brio. It's huge to just wellness, right? Loneliness is real. It's a huge health risk. I think we learned a lot from COVID. And for me personally, that was one major takeaway, that being forced to be, away from my peeps was really, really hard. So try to keep your mind and spirit active. Look into hobbies, learning, movement. Shared this already, but I saw on subreddit the other day, there was this, it's a subreddit called like Made Me Smile. So you never know what you're going to see. It's usually animals, to be honest. But in this instance, it was a group of older Chinese women all in a class that meets daily with full-on drum kits doing a, like just kind of like a little rock drum show together. They do it daily, and there were smiles, smiles, smiles everywhere around the room. So it doesn't have to be something that you knew you loved. It could be something you discover you love, something to keep you engaged. It's also important to ask for help. Know that therapy and support groups are powerful tools and they are available to you, but it's also important to know that you have agency, right? Speak up for your needs and set boundaries. And Michelle's going to say this word for me: infantilize.
Infantilize.
We often, for some reason, stumble over that word. We often do that to our older adults, right? We baby them. We make decisions for them, right? Be part of the conversation on both ends. So for social safety net, if you don't already have a robust community, think about how you can start building one. Join community groups or volunteer. I recently joined my South of Market community organization, not because it was super sexy, right? But hey, it's where I live, right? These are the people I'm seeing. These are the pups, more importantly, I'm seeing on the daily. So how can we make our shared community better? Also want to give a special shout out to my beloved volunteer org, Little Brothers, Friends of the Elderly, which focuses on easing isolation and loneliness in San Francisco aged population. You can also think about exploring shared housing or co-living. I see like an article a month about these 5 women deciding to like move on a ranch and are living their best life ever. Use tech when helpful. Zoom, Facebook, online classes. Again, COVID taught us that we can be connected wherever we are. We just need to make the effort. And know who you'd call in a pinch. List those emergency contacts now. That's even more important, I think, for some of us solo agers, which I think is going to be a slide or two from now. I think the next slide is going to show some social interaction checkup lists. Make sure, are you getting as much social interaction as you want? What are you finding enjoyable, or what would you like to look into? All right, and in the interest of time, we're going to move on to solo aging. So you're not alone. I'm a solo ager. See, you're already in a group of 2 or more.
Me too.
All right, Mary, we're 2. Paula, 3. We're good. Look at us. We're not solo. We're a triad. Love it. So it just takes a little more work, right? So start with your support team. Identify your trusted friends, neighbors, professionals. Will you want a bigger team to help you? Do you need an elder law attorney? I know everyone here is a financial advisor. Okay, healthcare advocate, a professional one, a fiduciary, right? Is there someone nearby who can help in a pinch? Now, your chosen family can be just as powerful as any biological one. But you need to know who your 2 a.m. emergency call is, right? And they need to know it's them. So Make sure they know it. Make sure you know it. Any questions from our solo agers? Because there are a bunch of resources out there now. In reality, it's a growing community. And I've got some resources at the end here, but it's more common. It's becoming way more common. But yes, Paula.
So there's a group that I'm looking into. It's called the Villages, and it's not the villages that have physical community, right? But it's
Yeah.
just what you're saying. It's a group that self-helps, so it's like all of us, if we were in this community, we could help each other, not necessarily every day, but maybe you make a call every third day, or you make a call a week, or whatever. And so I'm looking into that because I want to live in place as long as I can. Now the one I'm looking into is in North Beach, so they may have boundaries that don't, aren't in your area. But there's several of these that, you're right, they seem to be kind of springing up all the time as this age group expands,
Yes.
Right. So it's not like assisted living as much as it is, well, I'm healthy now, I could drive somebody to an appointment, or I could go with them,
Love it.
or I could call them, or I could do something, bring them a plant. And therefore you pay in so that if I'm needy, it could be that person in a pinch, or it could be just checking in, as we get older.
Oh,
You're not
Paula.
showing up at a job, and there might not be those regular times when people see you.
I love that so much. We'll have to talk offline. That seems like
Yes.
a great resource and opportunity for you and others. That's great. And intergenerational friendships, so key, so valuable at any stage in life, but super critical as you age. So make sure you've got not just your peers, but some other generations in the mix.
Oh, one important thing to me too, Shannon, if I could mention it too, was as pointed out by siblings, I should get a little medical alert pendant or watch bracelet.
Yep.
In case of emergency. And who do they call? And if the person to call or first responder is not available, to have a second plan B person.
Yep.
Knowing from my family's experience, when my uncle passed away several years ago, he put down the name and telephone number of a neighbor, but unfortunately the neighbor was not at home, did not get the call, and there was no one else to call.
Oh dear.
So he passed away. And my own mother had a fall living by herself as a widow. She lay on the carpet for several hours because she had recently been in the hospital and made the mistake of seeing how much insurance was going to be billed for in her week's stay at the hospital. So she didn't want to spend $19,000 again. Even though she wasn't to pay it, it was the insurance. But she had her medical alert bracelet. She didn't push the button because she was afraid of the cost. And my brother read her a very gentle riot act, like, "What are you paying? What are you paying for? Use it."
Oh my God, that is so frustrating. Such a good reminder. Yes, I mean, for those of us of a certain age, I'm sure you all remember that I've fallen and I can't get up commercial, right? I think the Apple Watch, which I don't actually have, but has a if you fall feature.
Yes. It detects it.
Yeah. So definitely employ smart tech, any sort of stuff like that can help you. And I think we've got 1 or 2 more slides here about the rest of your family, your pets, right? If you have a will in place, you probably have this somehow baked in there, but you probably don't have the degree of specificity that really would be helpful for whomever is taking care of your pets. I have some friends of mine that were listed guardians for 2 dogs of this gentleman that passed away. Lovely pooches. They were never potty trained and they're 12 and 14, right? That would have been great information for them to have. So why does it matter? Because you want your loved ones to have a wonderful life with or without you, right? You might have to just temporarily go into the hospital for treatment and need just a temporary caregiver, or it might be, you no longer are in a facility that allows pets, or you're possibly no longer with us. So, of the most important things to keep in your pet care plan, obviously, vet info, the emergency care instructions, any trusted temporary caregivers, nominate a long-term guardian that you trust. Make sure that you have some money set aside for this. As we know, our little ones can, rack up quite the monthly bill, right? So make sure if you're giving somebody the responsibility and the honor of loving your pet when you're no longer with us, give them a little bit of money to take care of them, and then have written instructions for routine and preferences. And if they're not already part of your will or trust, consider adding them. But of course, there's a worksheet. So this is where you can outline your pet care plan, including groomer information, any other sorts of things, so that you can hand this over with confidence, and your pets will be a little bit more comfortable during that transition. I think at the tail of the presentation here, we're just, this is all about starting a conversation, and we're here for you. Brio is here for you so that your aging plan reflects your values, your preferences, and your needs. As I mentioned before, we want to have a seat at the table and have that conversation with you and your loved ones. If you don't want us to be your accountability partner, find one, right? Mary's sister's doing a good job of that, sending her the book, right? And then share your info with us. We're the quarterback here, and we're here to help however we can. So there's some further information here within the deck. You'll all get this with some resources, including Bay Area agencies on aging, some of the resources that I found useful, solo aging here at the end. And then in the following pages, we've got these are current to 2025 only at present, Medicare, Social Security, and long-term care reference sheets. Okay. Yeah, and then Social Security and long-term. Yeah. So with that, any final thoughts or questions?
Is this workbook available online? I'm pretty sure it is, right? From you guys?
I will send it to you as a PDF so you can fill it out.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'll send you, and you can, if I didn't mention already, it's important to sort of reassess these things probably on an annual basis, right? Particularly if you're in a health situation or a care situation. If you have a significant life change, take a look at these things, and use them as a guidebook with your other professionals. You might want to have talks with your caregivers specifically so they know and have reflected on their side what your wishes are.
Okay.
Yes, Marge has a question. Yes, hi.
Yeah, hi. So, just one thought. I mean, I just went through all of this with my father, who passed away about 3 months ago. And a lot of it was a surprise. And, and some of you others have talked about this too, about the really frustrating problem of especially a parent or even a sibling who simply won't discuss any kind of end of life planning, just gets angry. When I tried to get my parents to get the bracelets in case they fell, I was told that I was a horrible daughter and to never bring it up again. So I can get very defensive. And so, I think for me personally, I hope I can be more open-minded and communicative about that. But, I mean, what I would love is, and not here now, but some kinds of strategies to work with relatives who just are so darn, defensive and afraid, and so that they can't really talk about anything. I mean, it's like, what can you do? I mean, we reacted to everything in the case of my dad, and we were fortunate that nothing was too out of hand. But I mean, it just raised for me this red flag that, you know, that I'm going to go through this again.
Yeah.
And it's kind of just scary.
Yeah, it's scary, it's hurtful, it's frustrating, and I don't have any great strategy to give here on the fly, but I will say the earlier you have these conversations when they're not in a perceived time of crisis, you know, if you can start having these conversations with your loved ones in their 50s, as opposed to their 70s, then maybe you already have laid the groundwork, and it might just be finessing and updating those things as opposed to, oh, hey, you're going to die soon. Let's talk about it. Right? Nobody wants to have that conversation. I think also a helpful tool for me is to say, like, this is what I've done, or this is how I'm feeling. This is what I'm struggling with when I've been thinking about my end of life care. What would your answer to this question be? Right? If you can put your forth and make yourself vulnerable first and get them to think of it in that way, as opposed to the questions being asked of me, it might be a little bit better received. Yes, and to whomever said the PowerPoint will go, I mean, the workbook and slides will go to anyone here who participated. And my dear Michelle has been recording everyone that's here. So we'll get that off to you, probably not until next week, to be honest. I just need to do a little zhuzhing of this lovely, lovely workbook. And I also need to get this presentation compliance approved so we can post it on the website. But you'll get the deck regardless. Get the slides, the resources, and the workbook.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. I'm always here for you. Brio's here for you. Let us know how we can help.
Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you,
Okay, all right.
Shannon.
Thank you, Shannon.
Thank
It's been
you.
very
Have
instructive.
a good weekend.
Yeah, you
Yes.
too.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you so much.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
Bye, Mary.